All right, good morning. As you all know, you were a large part of my iLead project this year, and our focus was on our PLCs and looking at data and changing kids to see if that encouraged student growth. So just an introduction, spring of 2015, you all know that we switched over to Common Core standards. When we did so, we saw a sharp decline in our test scores, where we had a lot of students drop from level 2 down to the beginning level with the milestone testing. Since 2016, we've put a lot of things in place to try to move kids from the beginning level up to the developing level, which we've done a good job at, but we've not done a good job at moving kids from the developing level to proficient or higher. So right now we had a lot of students sitting in that level 2 range. So as you know, there was a need to continue to move students from beginning to developing, but also start to focus on moving students from developing to proficient or higher. That's why this year we use second semester with our Math Connections teachers for them to focus on level 2 kids and helping to move them to level 3 or higher. 2017, 2 years ago, we started our new PLC format, just basic implementation where you all set norms, assign roles, and for the most part, we just looked at benchmark data and made changes within our own class. This year, in the fall, we worked on building trust within our PLC group and as a whole in order to move to a more shared unit. The last 2 years of STAR data, as you know, has been closely aligned to our milestones results. Typically, our milestones are a little bit higher than STAR, but pretty close. So we did team building activities from the fall with a short-term project to try to build trust in each other so that we can move on to sharing our kids. We have analyzed data from STAR and our CFAs, and then we've used that data to cross-team students during first period study skills, where each of you had certain standards that you were strongest in, that you helped with students who struggled with those standards. Research questions. Within a PLC, does the collaborative data teaming process promote continuous improvement and student growth? And what is the impact on using common data to cross-team or share students during first period study skills? My hypothesis was that collaborative data teaming will build common teacher efficacy and promote shared ownership of all students with teachers, which in turn will result in improvement in student growth and achievement. So literature shows in order to see the change necessary to improve student learning, teams of educators need to establish trusting relationships that allow them to go beneath the surface matters typically discussed among teachers and engage in deeper conversations about instruction and student achievement. So that's what we worked on in the fall, were those team building skills and learning to trust each other more. Many educators lack the expertise on how to transform student achievement data into an action plan that will improve instruction and increase student learning. We did a lot better with that this year, but as you know, we're still in the baby phase of that, so we're working to still carry that over next year to get better. When collaborative data teams are implemented with fidelity and supported with adequate resources, they tend to lead to significant improvement in student performance. And so we'll look at data towards the end to see if that was the same effect for us. Definition of collective teacher efficacy refers to a group's common belief that through their collective action they can positively influence student achievement. So that required all of us to be on the same page, have the same goal, have the same belief in what we're doing will improve student achievement. So we've talked about this with Hattie. Collective teacher efficacy is 1.57. That is over 3 times the student growth of 0.4. So this was one of the things that we were looking to assist with this project. You all were my participants, including the co-teachers. As you remember, we used the data protocol plan, looking at the 4 essential questions of DE4. We've looked at STAR data, we've looked at CFA, we've looked at Georgia milestone scores from last year and topics that we knew students were weak in. And then we also had our CFA data analysis forms that we used. So this is our cycle of results, where we're planning, we're teaching, we're analyzing the data, we're reteaching for mastery if needed. So we had weekly PLCs where we reviewed data bi-monthly. You reviewed data from your CFAs. We used data analysis form. We also had STAR data, and with that data is where we cross-team and we shared kids during our first period study skills. Standards needing intervention were taught by the strongest teachers, and then you guys would rotate every 2 to 4 weeks based on new data. So if we look at our STAR data, this is our students in August and our students again when they tested in March. So with beginning and developing, you want to see your percentage drop, and with proficient and distinguished, you want to see your percentages increase. So we did move some students from beginner to developing. We moved a few from developing to higher. And again, you want to see these percentages increase. So you're looking at anywhere from a 1 to 3.
Keisha Thomas, could you come up to the front office for just a moment, please? Thank you.
A 1 to 3% difference in a positive trend on both. When we look at CCRPI based on the STAR data, this was our initial baseline for August. We did not fluctuate too much between December and March. And this is our SWD and our EL students where we're looking at growth. If you look at from December to March, we did show student growth based on STAR data, but our progress performance weight stayed about the same. Georgia milestones and STAR data. So this was our data from last year in March. This is our data this year in March, and you can see it's a little bit stronger, but not much of a difference. When you look at our Georgia milestones data, this was our weighted performance this time last year, 68.5. Our weighted performance as a school for math is 73.78%, but for 8th grade it's 82.7%, which is a huge jump for us, and in my opinion that is attributed to what you all have done in your PLs this year. So for the results, STAR data from August to March shows that students were progressing from beginning and developing levels to proficient and distinguished. Our STAR data compared to 2018 milestone data shows that we did perform lower, but our STAR history shows that we're pretty close to Georgia milestone results, even though our milestone results are typically a little bit higher than our STAR results. So this was an update that I put in from the presentation that I did last month. For this year, our milestone results are much higher than our STAR results. Typically, they're a little bit higher, but they're closely related. This year, our milestones results in all 3 grade levels were way higher than our STAR. And we did see a big jump from beginning to developing and then developing to proficient. So based on the STAR data and the milestone data, there is evidence that collaborative data teaming can promote student growth and achievement, and that building trust amongst you guys as a PLC was a start to allow you to feel comfortable and feel secure with each other to start sharing students during first period, As you know, we had to build that trust that if I send my kid to you, I know they're going to get the same thing or better than they would from me. There is still room to grow in this area. At this point, we're doing it because we're told to do it, and I hope that we eventually move to the point where we see the benefits of it, and this is an example of the great benefits, where we're doing it more independently as a group. PLC members are moving in a positive direction to build common teacher efficacy. Collaborating with common data and accepting shared ownership for all students has required you all to come together. But again, we are certainly at the beginning phases of this and still have a lot of work to do. So to follow up, we got our STAR data and our milestone data. We will analyze that data for next year. Go ahead and put our struggling kids in Math Connections class in your first period class. And then after we finish here, we will meet for you to give feedback and suggestions on how we can grow as a PLC next year. And the plan is everything we did this year expanded to 6th and 7th grade math PLCs for next year. Thank you guys, very proud of you.